Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyev च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. शीला प्रभुपाद की जय. Assembled devotees की जय. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devi Dasi from Texas, welcoming all of you to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. May I know who all joined this mid mornings? Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Why you can't?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and the assembled devotees. This is Revati from Atlanta, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Revati Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving your valuable association this morning.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Sorry Mataji, you go ahead.
Go ahead, Mataji, no problem. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga, and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Cincinnati.
Hare Krishna, Yashumati Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving your association and chanting so nicely and also reciting Bhagavad Gita chapter. Very grateful to you. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranams to you and to all the devotees here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sumi from India.
Hare Krishna, Sumi Ravi Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving your association every day. Welcome to the call. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna
Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. This is Manmohan from India.
Hare Krishna, Manmohan Prabhu. Nice to hear your voice. Welcome to the call, Prabhu. Please accept my
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Parima. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Dandvat Pranams to everyone on this call.
Hare Krishna, Parima Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Very nice to hear your voice, Mataji. Thank you for joining every single day. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day, giving your association early morning, mid morning. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas, and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida, Sundari.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you, Mataji. We will start the recording here. Give me a minute. Yeah. Okay. Recording is not on. Okay. Something happened. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Mataji to enlighten us on the topic of Madhurya Kadambini. Today is a session 2. We are eagerly waiting to hear from Mataji. Before that, we'll start a quote, Srila Prabhupada quote, 9th February. we should always remember, Krishna, that our body is not for the sense gratification. It's for Krishna's service only, and to render very good sound service to Krishna. We should not neglect the upkeep of the body. Letter to Rai Rama, February 9th, 1969. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Mataji, Kirtida Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving your valuable time association this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Madhuri Kadambini, Session 2. I now hand over the call to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Thank you so much for your very, very warm welcome. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Really, really grateful to your wonderful and kind association. Thank you so much. So we will start our session 2 on Madhurya Kadambini, a Cloud Bank of Nectar by Srila Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur. And let's start with our Mangalacharan and then we'll move forward. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Guruve Gaura Chandrai, Radhikai Tadale, Krishnai Krishna Bhaktai, Tadbhaktai Namo Namaha. Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya, Hemabhadivya Chavisundaraya, Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Mukam karoti vācālum pangum langāyate girim yatkripatam ham vande Shri Guru Dīnatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, thank you so much once again for your very, very kind association. I really beg each and every one of you to please shower your blessings, prayers, wishes so that I can do some justice to this esoteric subject matter of Madhurya Kadambini, which is a Cloud Bank of Nectar written by Srila Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur. So these subject matter are very openly discussed in various books, but still these are considered to be very, very confidential. Right? These books are very, very confidential. We all know that. And such confidential subject matter has to be discussed among like-minded devotees in Sajatiya Sangha. So I'm taking this liberty, considering you all as Sajatiya Sangha, and trying to discuss this Madhurya Kadambini. See, one can say that how come this subject matter, though it is discussed or it is written in so many books, and it's openly available to everyone. You can go to any of the store in Vrindavan, you can buy it, you can read it, but still such subject matters are considered to be confidential. So it's just the same thing like a relationship between husband and wife. We all know how the relationship is, but still the relationship is kept as confidential, right? Similarly, though these books, these subject matter have been written, have been published, has been available, but still these are a very, very confidential subject matter. And it has to be discussed among Sajatiya Sangha, among like-minded devotees. And I know you all are like-minded. So therefore, I'm taking this liberty of studying with all of you. As I mentioned in my previous class, it's not that I have mastered this, and that's why I'm taking as an authority of sitting and speaking. No, I'm studying with all of you. I'm studying with all of you in all of your association. And that's helping me also greatly. So please, 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 please shower your prayers, your blessings, your wishes. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So in the last class, we have already discussed about Madhurya Kadambini. What does this title means? And then we discussed about the author, Srila Vishvanath chakravarti Thakur, about the disciplic succession. And then we discussed about the showers of nectar. So from the second shower of nectar, the stages of bhakti will be explained. Like Ado, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Narthanavritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava Bhakti, and then Prema Bhakti. Right now we are in the first shower of nectar, in which the preeminence of bhakti is being described. And in the last class, we have just touched the Mangalacharan verse. So we'll go very slow because I want really feeling interest in studying this book in association of all of you. So I think so we'll go slow, no matter how many Fridays we'll take. But let's see how it goes. What Krishna willing, we'll proceed. So this was the first shower of nectar, and we discussed the Mangalacharan in great detail. And as I said, we will study this Mangalacharan every class so that we memorize it. Okay. Hridvapre nava bhakti shasya vitate sanjivani swagama Rambe kamata partudaha damani Vishwa pagolasini Duran me marushakino pisarasi Bhavaya bhuyat prabhu Shri Chaitanya kripanirankushamaha Madhurya Kadambini. So we have discussed in great detail, and let's move forward. So now this is text number 2, which will explain how to obtain. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also wrote text 2, which is again a part of Mangalacharan only, but now he is explaining how to obtain the special mercy. It's a special prayer to obtain the divine blessings from our Acharya. Bhakti purvai shrita tam tu rasam pashed yadatadi tam naumi satatam rupa nama priya janam hare. So what he's saying, Bhakti purvahi striya shrita tam tu. Previous Mahajans, they have taken shelter of this Bhakti Devi. So now, there is some problem. The text has not come correctly. Anyway, I'll edit it later. But the various Mahajans had taken shelter of Bhakti Devi, and now by the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, fortunate people, right? Fortunate people have attained this Madhurya, this intelligence, have attained this intelligence to realize Bhakti in its Rasa form. Okay, so I constantly pray. Rasam pashyat tad at dihi. Dihi means intelligence. So with their own intelligence, these fortunate people have followed whom? The previous acharyas, the previous mahajans, and they have taken the shelter of this Bhakti Devi. And what they have realized through their intelligence, that this Bhakti is rasa. Okay, this is Bhakti is about ras. Tam nomi satatam rupa. Therefore, he's saying, I'm bowing down. I constantly pay my obeisances to whom? To Rupa Goswami. Nama Priya Janam Hare, who is very dear. This Rupa Goswami is very, very dear to Lord Shri Hari. So this is the special blessings of that has been obtained, special prayer that has been sung by Srila Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur to obtain the divine blessings. I'll edit this. Maybe it was a very short time that this presentation was prepared, so I didn't get a chance to edit it or see it before, but I'll do it. So what prayer this is concerning, like why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is writing this prayer? It is for us. It is for we jivas that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is writing this Madhurya Kadambini, because it's the jivas whose journey, we sadhaka, we are sadhakas, we are not materialistic jivas. We are sadhakas, we know about the spiritual life, and it's our journey from the stage of Ada Shraddha to the stage of Prema, from the stage of attaining Sambandha Gyan to the stage of attaining our Prayojana Tattva. That is the ultimate goal of life. So this is the nature of a living entity, that the living entity has to be what? Krishna re Swarupa hoye, Jiva re Swarupa hoye, Nitya re Krishna Das. That the Swarup of Jiva is that he is always and always the servant of the Supreme Lord. But from time immemorial, we have forgotten this relationship. We have forgotten that that I have some sambandha, I have some relationship with the Supreme Lord. And then what happened? As soon as we forget, then the deluding potency, the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord as Maya Devi comes and swallows us. Right? So that means the moment we forget Bhagavan, we are in the clutches of Maya. Right? Even Chaitanya, Prema, in Prema Vivarta, Jagadanandan Pandit, I think so, he has written, Krishna bhuliya jiva, bhogavancha kare. The moment we jiva forget the identity of Krishna, forget our identity in relationship to Krishna, Krishnera bhulya jiva bhogavancha kare. And we started thinking of our sense gratification. Nikata mayastha, that Maya who is already there, who is standing in this thing, that the moment we forget, Nikata mayastha chapati adhare, it will again take us to in her own clutches, and we will be entangled for lifetimes, right? And we are seeing that we are into this cycle, this samsara cycle. We are in this cycle of birth and death. Sometimes we see ourselves as a great demigod. Sometimes we see ourselves as the great king of this earthly planet, a ruler. Sometimes we become mere a citizen. Sometimes we become a king. Sometimes we become a pauper. Sometimes we take birth in a priestly class, like a Vipra, like a Brahmana. And sometimes we take in a Shudra family. Sometimes we become happy. Sometimes we become sad. Sometimes we take birth in other species of life, like plants, like aquatics, like beasts, like birds. And sometimes Jiva takes birth in demoniac family. So we are wandering in this 8,400,000 species in this 14 planetary systems. We have been wandering. But for what? Why we are wandering? Anyone wants to say? Why we are wandering? What do we want actually? Why we are struggling so much?
Happiness, Mataji.
Very nice. Thank you, Parima Mataji. It is for happiness. We are struggling because we want to become happy. But we do get happiness in this world also. But that happiness is a flickering happiness. It's temporary. And we are happy after getting this flickering happiness. Don't realize that yes, this happiness has come, but a stream of distress is following it. Why? Because this place is Dukkhalayam. This place has been titled as Dukkhalayam. So we will never get eternal happiness lifetime after lifetime, no matter how much we search for it. So where do we get this actual happiness? Where do we find this real happiness, which is akshaya, which is not shaya, which is not limited, but it is unlimited happiness? Where can we find this? That can only be found when we attain our constitutional position, our real constitutional position. When we understand that Sambandha Gyan, when we understand that I am only here to serve Krishna. And Krishna, he knows that my jiva is wandering in these 14 planetary systems. And therefore, when this Bhagavan, when he observes that my dear living entity has been wandering lifetime after lifetime, he shows some compassion to us. He shows some compassion so that we can turn our face towards him. Right now we are Vimukh, but now Krishna wants us to be Sanmukh, we should face Krishna. We should turn our face to Krishna. And therefore Krishna descends in the form of scriptures. He descends in the form of various incarnations, time after time, millennium after millennium. He comes with his own parshas. He comes with his exemplary teachers, the acharyas, who teach us what is the way of life. So these acharyas, they teach us that it's only through Bhagavad Bhakti. If we practice this word Bhagavad Bhakti, only then we will be eternally satisfied. We'll get that Akshaya Sukh that we are looking for. Otherwise, no matter how much jnana we do, how much karma we do, how much hatha yoga we practice, how much ashtanga yoga we practice, it will all go into vain if it is not connected to the Supreme Lord. This is the basic teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So I'm not going into this because this is not a Bhagavad Gita class. But the point is that it's only through Bhagavad Bhakti that the living entity's distress is completely ceased. It completely ceased down to zero. And one gets actual happiness. Actual happiness. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also, when Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing the glories of Advaita Acharya, he states that Acharya is the one who propagates this cult of devotion. He is known as Acharya because he propagates the cult of bhakti. So the moment we practice bhakti, only then we can get that supreme, unlimited happiness which we are looking for. That is only and only possible by our practice of bhakti. Therefore, here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that let me follow those Purva Mahajans, Vaishnava Acharya like Narad Muni, like Prahlad Maharaj, like Pandavas, like Sri Uddhavji, like Sri Sukadev Goswami, like Yamuna Acharya, like Madhvacharya, like Ramanujacharya, you name it. You name it. There are so many Mahajans. And what are they teaching? What are they experiencing? They are experiencing exclusive shelter of bhakti. And that's what they are teaching. They are experiencing, they are relishing it, and they are teaching us. And therefore, they are known as acharyas. They are known as Mahajans. And we jivas are supposed to follow these Mahajans. Only then we will realize what bhakti is and how bhakti can give us that eternal blessings. So this is Bhakti Purva Shritatam tu. We have to follow the previous acharyas who has laid down the path, very clear path they have laid down through their own exemplary actions. They have achieved it, they have done it, they have achieved it, they have realized it, and they have laid the path for all of us. What we need to do is just to follow them. Take shelter of Bhakti Devi as our acharyas have done. Then understanding that this bhakti is rasa. Now, what is the meaning of rasa? Anybody wants to say what is the meaning of rasa? See, I want your participation. Otherwise,
Mataji, taste, Mataji, taste.
Taste.
yes, rasa is taste. Anything you want to say? What is rasa?
Krishna himself is Rasa.
Yes, Krishna is raso vaisaha. Very good. But what is the actual meaning of ras?
Juice.
Juice.
Taste.
Very good. Prabhupada gives this very beautiful example that if you squeeze a mango, a very delicious ripened mango, and when you squeeze it, you get the pulp or the ras or the juice of that mango, right? This is a layman term, which is very good. You all answered that is what rasa is. But
relation is also the rasa.
Relation is also a rasa. Yes, it can be into different rasa. Very good. So what this rasa is actually? So what Prabhu said that relation is also a rasa is actually what I was looking for. That we can have those relationship with the Supreme Lord, only then that ras can be established. So in a layman language, ras is known as essence, juice, taste, mellow. But what this rasa is, that we have to understand. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami has described in detail, but we will not go because again, this is not Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu session. But what this rasa is actually, that if you suppose I say the example of halwa, right? A semolina halwa, suji halwa. Now, what is the main ingredient of that suji halwa? What is the main ingredient?
Suji.
Without which that halwa cannot be made?
Suji.
Suji. So the main ingredient of that halwa is semolina or suji, right? Now, all the other ingredients like ghee, like water, like sugar, nuts, or whatever you want to add, all the other ingredients are enhancing the taste of semolina. But the main ingredient is suji or semolina. But the outcome, the halwa, the outcome that has been made is what is known as rasa. Right? So this is the rasa, and it is made up of various bhav. For example, the sthai bhav, then we have abhav, we have anurag, we have vibhav, we have satvika bhav, we have vyabhachari bhav. There is so much to it. But the sthai bhav is what is known as semolina. Rest all others are those bhavs that will help this sthai bhav to be constant, so that the real taste, so that the real ras can come out. Okay. So as Prabhu said, that having a relationship. So when we have that relationship with that Supreme Lord, and we situate ourselves in that sthai bhav, that is what is known as bhakti in a layman term. So this is the devotion to understand our constitutional position. So this bhakti is also known as rasa. So now you all got it. What is this rasa? The entire halwa is rasa. Entire halwa, the entire preparation that we make is ras. But it has different components. Main is our sthai bhav, without which that dish cannot be made. Other ingredients added to it that enhances the taste are the other bhavas that we have. But ultimately, the main thing is the ras that is coming out after the entire preparation of making that halwa. Okay, so this bhakti is also rasa. But all our previous acharyas, before the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, nobody considered this bhakti as rasa. It's only after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving direction or giving instruction to Srila Rupa Goswami at Dashavamed Ghat, at that time where he was explaining him this about this bhakti rasamrita sindhu, that time Rupa Goswami was taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Rupa Goswami came to this conclusion that this bhakti is rasa. Therefore, he wrote Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu. Right? So it is very important to know that this bhakti is rasa. It is not something dry we are following or we should follow. It has so much of variegatedness. And nobody in the past has bestowed this. Anarpitam chiram chirat karunavatirna kalau samarpaito mannata ujjvala rasa swabhakti shriyam. It's our dear Sri Sachinandana. It's our dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who is giving this anarpitam chiram chirat, which has never been given, chiram chirat, for a long time. This unnata ujjvala rasa, this madhurya rasa, this bhakti rasa, which is his own bhakti. See, Rupa Goswami is saying, Unnat Ujjvala Rasa Swabhakti Shriyam. Its own bhakti he is giving in the form of Madhurya Rasa, in the form of Unnat Ujjvala Rasa, which has never been bestowed in the past. Anarpitam Chiram Chirat. But it has never been distributed or bestowed. But now, Karuna Vatirna Kalho, in this Kali Yuga, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come in the form of the epitome or the personality of compassion. And he has come. And Samarpaitum, and he is giving it to everybody freely. What is? Unnatujvala Rasa, which is his Swabhakti, his own bhakti, because he is coming in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So therefore, Rupa Goswami is the Acharya who has established this bhakti as rasa. And therefore, our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, Rasam Pashya Tad Atadhi Tam Nomi Satatam Rupa Nama Priya Janam Hare. So I am bowing down to that Srila Rupa Goswami who has established bhakti as rasa, and that has been experienced by the previous acharyas, and so I have to follow their path. And I bow down to that Srila Rupa Goswami, who is Nama Priya Janam Hari, who is very, very dear to Hari. So we have discussed how bhakti is rasa. But now, what is bhakti? What is bhakti? Anyone? What is bhakti?
Mataji,
Devotional.
devotion.
Yes.
It's serving with a relationship. Serving the
relationship. Very good. Is it only devotion? Has Prabhupada
Service. Devotional service.
Unconditional love.
Yes, unconditional love. Yes, that is bhakti. But that unconditional love is for whom?
for the Supreme Personality.
For Krishna. Right, that is what is bhakti. Prabhupada, you take it any book, be it Bhagavad Gita, be it Srimad Bhagavatam, be it Chaitanya Charitamrita, be all the other books that he have translated. Prabhupada never mentioned bhakti as devotion. He always mentioned bhakti as devotional service, because the service attitude should be attached to it. No matter I can say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I don't do anything, that means I don't mean what I'm saying. And no matter if I don't say I love you and I show my love to you through my service, it will automatically mean that I love you. So this is bhakti. And our Srila Rupa Goswami has given the perfect definition of this word bhakti. The perfect definition. Nowhere, no acharya has given that proper definition of bhakti, which Srila Rupa Goswami has given. अन्याभिलाषिता शून्यं ज्ञानकर्माद्यनावृतम् अनुकूल्येन कृष्णानुशीलनं भक्तिरुत्तमा. That is the Uttama Bhakti. That is the definition of bhakti. You have to memorize this verse. We have to memorize, we have to understand what bhakti is. Okay, because we are stepping into this Madhurya Kadambini, which will be taking us from Shraddha to Prema. But Shraddha for what? For this bhakti. What is bhakti? This is bhakti. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam Krishna anukulyena Krishnanu shilanam bhakti ruttama. We'll spend some time on this definition of bhakti and let's see how it goes. If time permits, we'll go with the next verse of the first shower. If not, we'll see how it goes. Okay. So I want to spend some time. Now, what is this? Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana. This is the Paribhasha Sutra. This is the sutra of bhakti, the definition of bhakti in one verse, which is the complete definition. So, yes, Parima Mataji, go ahead.
Mataji, we are asking, that's why I'm replying.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's why I thought you are asking. That's why.
No, I didn't ask anything right now. So I'm just saying that this is the Paribhasha Sutra, that is Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadyanavritam Krishnanushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. Right? Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. Now, the last two lines, Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. This is known as the primary characteristics or the Swarup Lakshana of Bhakti. Okay, the primary characteristics. So any definition on any word has two Lakshana. One is the Swarup Lakshana, another is Tatastha Lakshana. Swarup Lakshana is what is known as the primary characteristics, and the Tatastha Lakshana is known as what is known as the marginal characteristics. So Swarup Lakshana of this verse is Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. And the Tatastha Lakshana is, what is the first two lines? That is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So we'll quickly go through about this entire verse. So first is Bhaktir Uttama. What is this Bhaktir Uttama? Means Uttama Bhakti. The first class Bhakti is, the definition is here. Now we'll see these three words, Anukulyena, Krishna Anushilanam. So Krishna Anushilanam. Now the word Anushilanam. Anu means constant. Anu means following. Anu means to be done with love, with thought, word, and deeds. All these are the synonyms of the word Anu. To follow, to do it constantly, to do it with love, to do it something repeatedly. That is what is Anu. Shilanam means to practice. Shilanam means to practice, to worship, to meditate. Because the root word is Shil, right? Shilanam is to practice, or you can say to worship, or to meditate, or to think. So if we see Anushilanam, we are saying following to practice, or constantly meditating, constantly serving with love. These are all different meanings that can come out from the word Anushilanam. So Anushilanam means something which has to be done repeatedly, which has to be done constantly. And what has to be done is to worship, or to serve, or to practice. This is the meaning of Shilanam. Now to whom? Krishna. Krishna Anushilanam. So something which we do it for Krishna forever, constantly, repeatedly, is what is known as bhakti. Now the question is asked, it's only for Krishna? What about our spiritual master? If I'm serving my spiritual master, if I'm serving Srimati Tulsi Maharani, if I'm serving Dham, will it not be at bhakti? It will be at bhakti. It will be considered as bhakti. Serving my spiritual master is also bhakti. Serving Tulsi Maharani is also bhakti. Serving Dham is also bhakti. Then it is said, Krishna Anushilanam. So here, Krishna Anushilanam, the word Krishna means it encapsulates not only Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but anything related to Krishna. Anything that is related to Krishna is also considered to be as bhakti. Not only Krishna Anushilanam, but anything related to Krishna is also regarded as bhakti. Like spiritual master, who is the representative of Krishna, like Tulsi Devi, who gives bhakti towards Krishna, like Dham, when we serve Dham, it belongs to Krishna, they are Krishna's abode. So not only Krishna, but anything related to Krishna, if we do it repeatedly, serve him or serve his paraphernalia with love repeatedly, is what is known as Krishna Anushilanam. Yes, Vinita Gandharvika.
Mataji, I was thinking of this, keeping Krishna in the center, like taking care of our family, everything, because we think them to be as Krishna's children. Yeah,
So
like that.
when we are doing it, it has to be, when we are doing it, our consciousness that it is Krishna, that they are Krishna's and devotees, right? So taking care of Vaishnavas, taking care of devotees, everything is encapsulated in the word bhakti. Now the come words Anushilanam. So Krishna bhakti is there, right? Constantly thinking of Krishna or Krishna's devotees or Krishna's dham potency is what is known as bhakti. Now the question is asked, Kamsa, Shishupal, they were always thinking of Krishna. Kamsa 24/7 was thinking of Krishna. Is it a bhakti? No, it is not regarded as bhakti. Why? Because he was not doing it favorably for Krishna. He is not doing favorably. So therefore, Rupa Goswami has used the word that yes, Krishna Anushilanam is there, but it has to be Anukuliyana. It has to be favorable. It should please Krishna. Right? So what is bhakti is that which pleases Krishna, with that pleases Krishna or Krishna's devotees or Krishna's dham or Krishna's representatives, and which is done repeatedly, constantly. That love, that service that we do it for Krishna or Krishna's devotees favorably to please Krishna is known as bhakti. So Anukuliyena Krishna Anushilanam. Now again, there is a problem here. You said that it has to be done favorable. That means it has to be pleasing to Krishna. Okay. So that means Hiranyakashipu, when he was fighting with Narsingadev, or when Hiranyaksh was fighting to Varahadev, they were giving pleasure to Krishna. You read Srimad Bhagavatam, it has been explained that Narsingadev appeared during noontime, and at dusk he killed Hiranyakashipu. What was the reason that he took that long in killing Hiranyakashipu? Yes, one reason can be because he said, I should not die in day and I should not die in night and in the middle. That could be an external reason. But Bhagavatam itself explains that actually Narsingadev was enjoying that fight in Veera Rasa. Hiranyaksh, when was fighting with Varahadev, Varahadev was enjoying that fight. So that fight, though it was not favorable, but it was pleasing to Krishna. So why can't their action be regarded as bhakti? Because it was very pleasing to Krishna. Krishna was very pleased. And he was always thinking of Krishna. Day and night, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh was thinking of Krishna, of Vishnu. Where is that Vishnu? All right. On the other hand, if we see our sweet Damodar Leela, what Madhuri Yashoda did, just to save the milk which was boiling on the pot, boiling on the stove, she left Krishna and she went to save that milk. Was that action pleasing to Krishna? No. Our Bhagavatam explains Krishna was so upset that he broke practically everything. He created the mess in the whole house. But that action was not pleasing to Krishna. So that means still there is some problem. Anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. How can that be an uttama bhakti? We regard Mother Yashoda, who did an act that displeased Krishna, as bhakti, and we don't regard Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksh act that pleased Krishna as bhakti. Now here also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, he mentions when he wrote that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, in which he gives detail of this verse, he says that actually this anukulyena doesn't mean just being favorable or pleasing Krishna. This word anukulyena means desire to please Krishna. This is the catch. Now what Mother Yashoda did, apparently she didn't please Krishna by leaving Krishna, but her desire was to please Krishna because she went to save that milk which will be in future used in the service of Krishna. So her intention, her desire was to please Krishna. Whereas Hiranyaksh or Hiranyakashipu, they were fighting with Krishna, which Krishna was enjoying, but their desire was not anukul. Their desire was not to give pleasure to Krishna. Their desire was to kill Vishnu. Vishnu was enjoying that fight, that's a separate issue. But what about them? Their desire was not to please Krishna. So Mother Yashoda, her action was not pleasing Krishna, but her desire was to please Krishna. Krishna was not happy when Mother Yashoda left Krishna for a moment. Krishna was not happy, that's another issue. But her desire was only to please Krishna. Therefore, we say that action of Mother Yashoda is bhakti, where the action of other Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu is not bhakti. So now what term, what definition we got? Anukulyena Krishna anushilanam is bhakti uttama. So that's the definition. Now what is the definition till now? What we got is that uttama bhakti is that which we, uttama bhakti is that when we do service constantly for Krishna or Krishna's devotee, favorably for our desire to please him. That desire to please Krishna or Krishna's devotees should be there. So that means our desire, our intention should be such that it should give pleasure to Krishna or Vaishnavas. That is what is bhakti. And then comes the tatastha lakshan. And tatastha lakshan is that, so till now by seeing the, Sarup lakshan, we got the definition that we have to engage our mind, our body, all in favorable way, keeping the negative away, definitely, acting sincerely and have a desire to please Krishna. That is the definition. Now, tatastha lakshan is that first is anya abhilasha shunyam, jnana karma anavritam. That is the tatastha lakshan. Now, tatastha lakshan is how we can make this pure devotional service as pure by anya abhilasha. That means we should not have any other desire other than the desire to please Krishna. Any other desire, if we have, that will not be regarded as bhakti. Okay? That is the tathastha lakshan, or the secondary meaning, you can say. So, anya abhilasha. Now, that was not the word used by Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami used the word shita. Anya abhilashita shunyam. So that means some liberty has been given. What is the meaning of this ita? Why he added the word ita? Why didn't he just say anya abhilasha shunyam? Shunya means zero. No other desire we should have. Anya abhilasha, we should have no other desire. But he says anya abhilashita shunyam. That yes, we should have no other desire, because if we have any other desire, that will not be regarded as bhakti. So he uses the word ita, means the nature of a desire. And it is being explained that there are only three ways, three matters in which we can still have desire other than pleasing Krishna. What is that? In the time of self-preservation. Second, in the life-threatening situation. When we are in life-threatening situation, we can still go and ask Krishna. We can plead Krishna, and that will also be regarded as bhakti. Like we see in the cases of Draupadi Devi, when she was crying for her protection in the assembly of Kuru, the words, the feelings, the prayers that were coming out from the mouth of Draupadi was regarded as bhakti. Was she giving pleasure to Krishna? No, she wasn't. Was she having any other desire? Yes. That desire was not only to please Krishna. She has other desire because she was in a life-threatening situation. So in that case, if we offer some prayers, that will also be regarded as bhakti. And the third is when some sudden circumstances arise, like for eating or evacuating, then if our prayers are made, that is also regarded as bhakti. Right? So the three things, anya abhilasha means all other abhilasha, all other desires should go down to zero. Like dhanam dehi, janam dehi, putra dehi, dhan dehi, kar dehi, whatever we can ask for. All those should be zero. But in the case of self-preservation, in the case of life-threatening situation, or in the case of sudden circumstances like eating and evacuating, if we pray, then that will also be regarded as bhakti.
Hi, Krishna.
Yes, go ahead.
What is the difference between the 1 and 2, self-preservation and life-threatening?
What is the difference between the self-preservation and life-threatening situation? Life-threatening situation is when your life is at danger. Okay, means it's a do and die situation. Like the example was given of Draupadi. It was a literally do and die situation for her. But when it comes for self-preservation means that yes, you are not dying, there is no do and die situation, but sometimes to preserve or to establish the truth, if you are praying, then that is also okay. In self-preservation means अपनी आत्मा की संतुष्टि के लिए, you know, that is what is in Hindi it is said.
So
In,
then,
yeah, go.
devotion, because Atma ka santushta is devotion, right? Meaning bhakti is what the soul wants. Is that how we should relate to it?
Yes, what the soul wants, but in relationship to Krishna. Krishna should be in the center. Krishna should not move away.
Okay, got it.
But for our self thing, like if somebody has, like we see the example of Samanta Kajwal pastime. It was for his self-preservation that Krishna went out of the way to prove that he is right. Right? So for self-preservation, now there Krishna himself was there. But if you keep in if you remove Krishna and you keep a devotee, then the devotee is also doing for self-preservation, then that will also be regarded as prayers of bhakti. And of course, in life-threatening situation, and of course, in the sudden circumstances like eating and evacuating. Yes, Krishna, Tanya, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Does it also include praying for someone other's health?
Yes, now you can speak. Does it mean?
Does it also mean that we can also pray for some other's health?
No, if you are praying for some other, you have to add that line, Krishna, if you so desire. If you are praying for others, that line should be added, if you so desire. Otherwise, it will fall under the category of Abhilasha. Anya Abhilasha. Okay. And that has to be.
Would it also apply for praying for somebody else if somebody else's life is in life-threatening situation? If it is life is or her life.
Life-threatening situation, yes. Okay. But if somebody is sick and you are praying for somebody's sickness, which is not life-threatening, just like if somebody is having some fever, some cold, some cough, and devotees say, can you pray for us? Of course you can pray, but has to be Krishna if you so desire. That has to be added. Otherwise, it will not be as a bhakti. It will be just your desire. But in life-threatening situation, in self-preservation, in sudden circumstances like eating and evacuating, if somebody is offering the prayers or service, that will be regarded as bhakti. Therefore, Rupa Goswami has used the word ichita, ita. Right? The nature of our desire should be very, very defined. It should be defined properly, the nature of our desire. Rest, all the desires should be shunyam. Then the second line is Jnana Karma Anavritam. Anavritam means it should not be covered with any tinge of jnana or any tinge of karma. It should be free from all external desires. It should be free from all jnana and karma. Then that service is what is known as pure bhakti or uttama bhakti. Let's see the meaning. The highest bhakti, bhaktir uttama, is defined as continuous service, anu. Remember the word anu. Or emotions directed, shilanam, towards Krishna, his expansion forms, or others related to him. How? Favorable way. In a pleasing attitude towards Krishna. Okay, our desire should be to please Krishna. Then it should be devoid of desires other than the desire to please the Lord and unobstructed by impersonal jnana, the materialistic rituals of karma or other favorable acts. That is known as bhakti. Okay. So this is now third verse. Now I ask all of you, do you want to continue with the third verse? It will take another 20 minutes. Or should we stop here?
Continue, Mataji.
Huh?
Continue.
Continue.
Okay.
Continue, Mataji.
This is the third verse. Now, so this is what is bhakti, okay? Truly defined by Rupa Goswami, and Srila Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur said that this bhakti, this definition of bhakti that Rupa Goswami has given, all the previous acharyas have followed it, accepted it, and therefore we fortunate devotees should have that intelligence to follow those great Mahajans and realize bhakti as not something dry, but some bhakti as rasa. Now comes the third verse of this first shower only. We are still on the first shower. This verse is pretty long verse, but I can explain. Iha khalu paramanand mayad adi purushad brahma pucham pratishtha iti. So what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, he is writing the verse, but in the red that you see, he is giving the shastric example to it. Okay. Iha khalu paramanandamayad adi purusha. So he is now in this verse explaining about Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what it is his glory and what is his position. So Iha Khalu, in this entire Brahmanda, and you can say the entire spiritual creation and the material creation, everything included, he is Paramananda. Supreme Lord is Paramananda. That means he is above Brahma, Paramatma realization also. And he is giving this example. Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. Brahma to pi parat paro. He is greater than the greatest. Raso vai saha. Rasam hi evayam labhavanti bhavati. Iti. Shrutya suchyamano. And he is, anybody can have any type of rasa with him. Any type of rasa with Krishna. Any type of relationship. That is not possible with Narayan or any other incarnation. Like for Narsinghadev, you cannot have that Vatsalya bhav. You cannot. But with Krishna, you can have. And he is giving the example of Mallanam Ashmir Nirnam Naravara Strinam Smaro Murtiman. Iti. Then Sarva Vedanta Sarena Nikhila Parama Chakravartina Srimad Bhagavatena Rasatvena Viriyamana Brahmano Hi Pratishtham Iti. This is from Shri Gita Upanishad. Cha evam iti. Samanmanneha Shri Vraja Raja Nandana Eva Shuddha Sattva Maya Nija Nam Rupa Guna Lila Addo Nadi Vapur Eva Kam Api Hetum Anapekshamana Sueva Swechaya Jana Shravana Nayana Mana Buddhi Adindriya Vrishtiv Avaratate Yathaiva Yadu Raghu Adi Vamshe Swecha Krishna Ramadi Rupena. This is the verse. It's in a prose form. Okay, you cannot sing this verse. But we can bifurcate this verse and try to understand what our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. So he is telling about, first is Iti Khalu Paramananda Mayad Adi Purushad, that our Sri Bhagavan is the supreme, and it has been explained that he is above Brahman realization, he is above Paramatma realization. So that Supreme Lord who is Bhagavan, in Bhagavan realization, is considered to be the supreme. And he gives the example of Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. What is the meaning of Brahma Pucham Pratishtha? Brahma here doesn't mean Lord Brahma. Brahma here means the Brahman effulgence that is coming from Lord Shri Krishna. So in Taittiriya Upanishad, it is being explained about this Brahma Pucham Pratishtha, that Brahman is, that Bhagavan realization is far, far superior truth than our Brahman realization and Paramatma realization. Now, what does this mean? Brahma Pucham Pratishtha, right? So we know that in Taittiriya Upanishad, it has been explained that the Supreme Lord Bhagavan, Krishna, he is like a bird, okay? And his tail is like a Brahman. Because we know that Brahman effulgence is nothing but it is coming from the body of Lord Shri Krishna. Right? So example is being given that just like we see a peacock feather, right? So when we see a peacock feather, the thing we realize that there must be somewhere peacock. The existence of peacock is established when we see a peacock feather, and not vice versa. It's not that when we see like a peacock feather actually exists because there is some peacock. It's not the other way around, right? So similarly, this tail is regarded, Puchha means the tail. It is regarded as the Brahman, and the entire Bhagavan is regarded as the bird. So peacock, just we see when the peacock is there, peacock is the shelter of his tail. Peacock is the shelter of his feathers.
So the moment he sheds one feather, seeing only the feather, we know that somewhere peacock is there. And that peacock's tail, this feather belongs to. Similarly, when we know about the Brahman effulgence, what the impersonalists are so much attracted to, we should understand that this effulgence is coming from someone. So there should be a personality from whose toenails or from whose ornaments this entire effulgence is coming. So therefore, Brahman Pucham Pratishtha means that this Brahman is actually the shelter of that Supreme Lord Bhagavan who is in a personalized form. Right? So, therefore, this word Brahma Pucham Pratishtha has been mentioned. So we see, we will go one by one into all these things, but we see first of all that where Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoting from these Shastras, like Brahma Pucham Pratishtha, Raso Vaisaha, this is from Taittiriya Upanishad. So he is quoting from Upanishad, he is quoting from Shastras, he is quoting from Shruti Shastras, Smriti Shastras, he is quoting from the Shastras. Now somebody can say that, okay, he is expressing that these Shastras are faultless, and therefore, quoting from the Shastras, he is establishing the point that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the Supreme. Now someone can say, well, I reject the Shastras. How do you know the Shastras are supreme? How do you know that that is the bona fide proof of evidence? So then comes our acharyas explain about the pramanas. What is pramana? Pramana is the evidence. That which helps us to bring out the actual knowledge of any object is known as praman, is known as evidence. Like we say, okay, show us the evidence. The court of law also asks for evidence, right? So anything that which has to be established should be accompanied by some evidence. Therefore, our acharyas have also given the 10 types of pramanas. So I know many of us have heard only the 3 types, Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Shabda Praman, but there are actually 10 types of pramanas. And all the 9 types of pramanas are failed, which cannot define the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoting from the Shastras so that nobody can object, because those words which are coming from the Shastras are actually the right praman to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, nobody can object Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur when Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is establishing this point that Bhagavan is supreme, because he is quoting from the Shastras. What are those 10 types of pramanas? We'll quickly see. First is the pratyaksh praman. We all know that is the direct perception. What is pratyaksh? Pratyaksh means any knowledge or any information when we get from our knowledge inquiring senses, right? Like our senses are there, like eyes, ears, nose, touch, smell. If we have any knowledge through these senses, then we say, well, it's an evidence, it's a praman. But our Shastras also say that there are 4 kinds of defects. And one of the defect is that we have imperfect senses. So something which we have seen is actually not there. It can be possible. Because when it comes to describe about the supreme absolute truth, all these pramanas can work in this material world. But to know something about spirituality, all the pramanas gets failed. Because this pratyaksh praman, the information that we receive from our knowledge acquiring senses can be failed. Because we have this one of the defect. We have actually 4 defects. We have Brahm, that is illusion. We have Pramad, that is confusion. We have the cheating tendency. Then we have defective senses, right? So all these defects doesn't establish this Praman to describe the spirituality or to describe about the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, this praman is failed. Next comes our Anuman praman, that is inference. This praman also gets failed. What is this? Because this praman is actually the knowledge which we infer, right, from our common observations. Example is being given. A lot of us have seen the smoke and fire together. Now, seeing the smoke and fire together means that there is a fire and there is a smoke. But sometimes when we go to some mountain areas, we see smoke coming out behind the mountain. Now, that doesn't always mean that there is a fire. Sometimes the fire is extinguished, but still the smoke is there. Right? So we have made our inference that when we see smoke, that means the fire is there. But that's not always right. That our anuman, that our praman, that our inference also gets failed. So therefore, this presumption of having about the supreme absolute truth can also become defective. So therefore, this anuman praman is also not the right way to understand. Third is arsha. Arsha praman is the statements of the sages. Yes, the statements of the sages can be correct to an extent, but mind it, the statements of the sages can also differ because they have the different theories. Tarka pratishtha shruyata vibhinna. They have their own tarka. They have their own theories, and different sages accept different theories. We know this. We have 6 schools of division. Advaita, Dvaita, Dvaita. We have so many, right? But they all have different vision or different mindset or their different theories. So how come the statements of the sages can be regarded as the right praman to understand the supreme absolute truth? It cannot. So this has also failed. Then is upama. Upama dena kisi ko. Comparison. Upamana praman means to compare someone with somebody. Okay. Now, this knowledge is based on the comparison of one object to another object. Now, this is also not always true or not always regarded as the absolute praman, absolute evidence to describe the Supreme Lord. For example, if I say, Krishna's face is like a lotus face, or if I say somebody's face is resemble like a lotus. Now, I have given that upma, but seeing the lotus, we cannot understand another man's face, right? So the face, the knowledge of the face simply cannot be understood just by seeing a lotus. How many of us have seen the lotus and remembered, well, this lotus is actually Krishna's face. This lotus is actually Krishna's navel. No, this lotus is actually Krishna's lotus feet. Because upma, to give upma, based on some comparison, we can make a certain evidence, like Krishna's feet are as soft as lotus petals. But seeing lotus, we cannot always remember Krishna's lotus feet or Krishna's face or Krishna's eyes or Krishna's navel, nothing. But they all are compared. But it is not the complete knowledge that is being given just by seeing a lotus about Krishna. So that means this praman is also sometimes defective. It doesn't establish the real truth. Then comes arthapati. Arthapati means is presumption. When we presume or we speculate because of some common sense, that is known as arthapati. Now, for example, if we see a person who is very healthy, right? And we have never seen that person eating or drinking during the daytime, then we presume that this person might be eating during nighttime. That's why this person is so healthy. Daytime, yes, that person is fasting, maintaining its weight, not eating anything extra, but still the weight is not coming down. Still the person is healthy. Then that means a person must be eating in the night. That's the assumption that we make. Now, this assumption cannot always be true. Maybe the metabolism of that person is such that even if he doesn't eat too much, still he puts on the weight. Maybe the medicines that person is taking may have that side effect of weight gain. So there could be n number of reasons. So when this praman cannot fit in the material world, how can it be 100% right of describing the supreme absolute truth? So therefore, arthapati is not always the reliable evidence. Next comes the abhav, means the absence. This is very common. We don't see God, so your God doesn't exist. You don't see mind, so even the mind doesn't exist. So the object, an object, if it cannot be perceived by the senses, it does not exist. Well, that's not true, right? If we cannot perceive, suppose a person is standing on one side of a high wall, right? And another side, there is a clay pot. Now, the person cannot see the clay pot because it's a very high wall. We cannot see, but that doesn't mean the clay pot is not existing. We cannot see, it is not perceived through our eyes, but still the clay pot is there. So that means the absence of an object is also not the reliable source of any kind of evidence. Then comes sambhav. Sambhav is probability. So probability is definitely not the right way to establish something which is of spiritual nature. What to talk even in the material nature, this probability whole times doesn't work. Probability. The doctors say, I will try my best. Rest is up to God. The lawyer says, I will try my best. Rest it's up to God. Probability may be high, but nobody can give you sure short thing. The doctors can say probability is high that if I do this operation, the patient can be cured, but still he will make you sign that papers that he is not responsible in case the patient dies. Though he is saying ki sambhavana bahut hai, probability is high that the person will be saved, but still he cannot guarantee. Right? So this is also not the right kind of praman. Next comes aitya. Aitya means the tradition, something which has been coming from ages, generation after generation. How can that be taken as praman? We don't know who said, which great-grandmother has established, and why it is coming from generation to generation. Well, that cannot be the evidence of any of the things. So this fact is also not acceptable. Then comes cheshta. Cheshta is gesturing, seeing something, seeing the object, seeing the quantity, seeing the measurement. We can say, like if I say 3, you can count 1, 2, 3. 3 fingers I'm showing, I'm gesturing, right? If you measure something, 1 kg or 1 liter, right? This is all by the gestures, cheshta. But this doesn't apply for any type of evidence as far as the spiritual matters are concerned. Now the next is what is true is Shabda, the Vedic testimony. This is the praman which is the best of all that can describe the supreme absolute truth. Why? Because this praman is not Paurusha, it is apaurusha. It has not been written by some mundane person who has those 4 defects. This is apaurusha, it is self-manifested from the Lord. That Lord who is all-knowing, who is all-powerful, who is full of auspiciousness, and who is Sukrit Sarvabhutanam, who is full of compassion and have no defects. The 4 defects that exist in jivas doesn't exist in the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Shabda Praman, through Shastras, whatever is written has to be accepted. And therefore, in this verse, the previous words, he says, he mentions about the points, that is, he is mentioning about the Shastras. These Shastras are the right way to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, Iha Khulu Paramananda Mayat Adi Purusha, that Supreme Lord, He is Adi Purusha. And He is above all kind of Brahman and Paramatma realization. He is Paramananda Mayat. And then example is given of Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. Then comes Raso Vai Saha, that our Supreme Lord is also full of rasa. So our Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami mentions that he is Raso Vai Saha, he is Akhila Rasamrita Sindhu. 1 minute, Tanya, let me complete and then I'll come back to you. So he quotes this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Mallanam. So we'll sing in the same meter, or because the time is not there, I can skip singing because this comes in the same. I can sing the first line as Krishna Kirtana, as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Mallanam ashanirnirnam naravara strinam smaro murtiman gopanam swajanoshatam shiti bhujam shashta swapitro shishu. So this way we'll sing. So what it has been describing, why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying he's Raso Vai Saha, and he is quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is Raso Vai Saha. He is Akhil Rasamrita Sindhu, and he's quoting this that when Krishna was in the wrestling arena, at that time, all the citizens, they have various rasas. They saw Krishna in various forms. The various groups of people in that arena regarded Krishna in different ways when he entered with his elder brother Balaram. The wrestlers like Mushtika, Chanur, they saw Krishna as a lightning bolt. The men of Mathura saw Krishna as best of males. The woman saw Krishna as Kamadev, as Cupid. The cowherd men saw Krishna as one of his jana, as one of his priyajana, as one of his relative. The impious rulers saw him as a chastiser. His parents saw him as their child in a Vatsalya bhav. The king of the Bhoja, that is Kamsa Maharaj, saw him as death personified. The unintelligent people saw Krishna as the universal form. He may be some god. And the yogis saw him as the supreme absolute truth, and the Vrishnis as their supreme worshipable deity. So see how many rasas can be established. One action of Krishna, one presence of Krishna, so many people and having different kind of relationships with Krishna. So therefore he describes him as Raso Vai Saha. Then comes, he describes about Gitopanishad, where he say Brahmano hi pratishthana. This is also mentioned. And this is the verse in the 14th chapter. Brahmano hi pratishtha aham amrita shavayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya akaintikasya cha. And I am, Krishna is saying, I am the basis of that impersonal Brahman. Means I am the basis. If that Brahman is established because of me, that Brahman which is immortal, which is imperishable, and which is eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. But who? I am that basis. I am the basis of that Brahman. So this is how in the verse we saw that it's been established Krishna is the supreme. So you saw these three. Brahma Pucha Pratishtha, Raso Vai Saha, example is given of the wrestling arena. Then established in Gitopanishad as Brahmano hi Pratishtha aham, Krishna says, I am the basis of that Brahman. That Krishna comes as Vrajraj. Right? See, he comes as Vrajraj Nandan. Who is Vrajraj? Our Nand Maharaj is Vrajraj. He is the king of Vraj. And Krishna is coming as his Nandan, as his son. And his own name, his roop, his guna, his leela, adi, etc. Vapur eva kam. Api hetum anapekshamana. He has no hetu. He comes, how he comes? Swa ichchaya. He comes with his own supreme sweet will. We all, living entities, are forced to come in this material world. But the Supreme Lord comes with his own supreme sweet will. Swa ichcha. Right? He is Swecha. If it is not Swecha, if Krishna is also force, somebody can say, Krishna comes paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, dharma samsthapanarthaya. How can you say there is no hetu for Krishna to come? There is a hetu to come for Krishna to come. He comes to annihilate the miscreants. He comes to protect his devotees. He comes to establish dharma. How can you say there is no hetu? All these are secondary things. Krishna doesn't have to come to annihilate the miscreants. He doesn't have to come. He can do it from his abode also. Krishna doesn't have to come to protect his devotees. His acharyas, his parshads can come and do the job. Krishna doesn't have to come to establish dharma. His acharyas are enough to do it. His parshads are enough to do this. But Krishna come swa-ichcha, for his own, by his own supreme sweet will, to relish the pastime with his devotees. That's why Krishna's name, Krishna's roops, Krishna's guns, Krishna's leela, they are all swa-ichcha. He comes with his own switcha, jana, shravana, nayana, so that his jana, means all other living entities, all his devotees can hear about him, can see him through their mind, through their intelligence, through their indriyas. How? By establishing that vritti, that consciousness, avartate, he comes down. See how beautiful it is? Now when we know the meaning, it comes out so clear. How can the janas hear about Krishna? How can the janas see Krishna through their mind, through their intelligence, even through their indriyas? How can that vritti be established? The example is given. We see a lotus flower, right? Our eyes see a lotus flower. When our eyes see a lotus flower, there is a kind of a vritti that is established in the heart that describes us that this is a lotus flower, right? Our nose smells some incense. Okay, we know we have smelled this incense. Okay, this is sandalwood. It has been now registered in our vritti, in our consciousness, that this smell is sandalwood smell. This essence, that the essence I'm smelling, it's of sandalwood. Now, if somebody gives me another essence and asks me what smell it is, now because it has been registered through shastras, it has been registered. Now the moment I smell, I'll say, well, this is the smell of a sandalwood, right? So this is how those vrittis are established in our heart when we see any material object. Similarly, when our heart is purified from all the contaminations, Krishna's vrittis from the shastras is established in the heart. And we know that what is the form of Krishna, how he looks like, how his hairs are like curly, soft black hairs, how he is wearing a pitambar dhoti, what is his color, how are his ornaments, how are his jewels, how are his lotus feet. Those vrittis are established. Right now we cannot. We are in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Right now, those vrittis may not be 100% established in our heart because our heart is full of contamination. But the moment this contamination goes away, then all these vrittis of Krishna, it gets established in our heart, and therefore his priyajanas can hear about him, can see him through their mind, through their intelligence, and even through their indriyas. Example is given of Narad Muni. He saw that glimpse in his heart. Right? He even heard Krishna saying that I have shown you, but now you will not be able to see it anymore. Right? So it is possible. And therefore, that Supreme Lord Krishna, with his Swecha, Yathaiva, Yadu, Raghav, Adi, Vamsha, in all these Vamshas, in Raghu Vamsha, he comes as Ramachandra. In our Yadu Vamsha, he comes as Krishna Chandra. Swecha, Krishna, Namadi, Rupena. He comes as Krishna and Rama. So that Supreme Lord who is above Brahman and Paramatma with his Swa-Ichcha, who is Raso Vaisa, who is the basis of Brahman, with his Swa-Ichcha, comes in this world to establish or to relish the pastimes with his devotees. And those devotees, when get purified in their heart, then through their mind, through their intelligence, and through their senses, they can perceive the Supreme Lord face to face. That is what is known as Bhakti. We'll read the translation and then we will end. In Taittiriya Upanishad, it is stated, Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. It is supremely bliss. It's from the supremely blissful personality of God at Sri Bhagavan that Brahma, the tail, abstain its substratum or basis. We discuss about the peacock. Therefore, Sri Bhagavan is a far superior truth than Brahman. Further on this same Taittiriya Upanishad is also indicated that Parabrahma Bhagavan, who is Paratpara, who is greater than the greatest, is composed of Rasa. He is Raso Vaisaha. Sri Bhagavan is the very form of Rasa. Simply upon attaining him, the living entity becomes endowed with pure rapture. Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of all the Vedanta, which is the cream, declares the crown jewel among all the sources of knowledge, has described this Bhagavan is full of rasa, and that none other than Krishna is that rasa swarup. This is because, as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Mallana Majnir Nirnam, we have discussed this. And then Sri Bhagavan himself said, Brahmano hi pratishthaam. I, in fact, the basis of that shelter of that Brahman. And by these words, Bhagavan Shri Krishna has personally indicated that he is beyond the highest tattva, is paratpara, and the embodiment of all rasa. The supremely pure existence, Vishuddh Satmamaya, the beginningless deity, Anadi Vigraha, Vrajendra Nandan, Sham Sundar, Shri Krishna, being adorned with his name, his spiritual name, form, qualities, and pastimes in Rasa Swarup, advented. His infant, childhood, and adolescent pastimes all indicate this, because he is fully independent. If he is not dependent, then why in the Mangalacharan of Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned that he is Swarat? He is Swarat because he is fully independent, independent of all controls and indifferent to any other cause. He is beyond all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna. What is that verse? Anyone wants to say that verse?
Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Ishvara Parama Krishna. Sachidanand Vigraha Nadiradir Govind Sarvakarana Karanam.
Sarvakarana Karanam. He is beyond all causes and he is the cause of all causes. And by his own sweet will, he reveals himself to humans, specifically his Prema Bhaktas, in the factuality of their heart, in their external senses also, like hearing and sight, and in their internal senses, in their mind and intellect, to bestow mercy upon the living entities of this universe and to fulfill the prema-laden desires of the bhaktas. Sri Krishna, although unborn, advent, avartate, by his own accord, Swecha, as Sri Krishna in the Yadu dynasty and as Sri Ram in Yadu dynasty and as Sri Ram in Raghu dynasty. So this is the entire verse that we read. It's when literally I saw this verse, it was like, okay, I cannot even understand this verse. But now if we read this entire verse, we'll come to know that what we have talked about is actually makes sense, and how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, taking the help of Shruti Shastras, established this point that Bhagavan is the supreme. That Supreme Lord in the personification of Bhagavan is supreme. So we'll stop here. Thank you all so much for your wonderful association. I know We had 30 minutes extra, but I'm glad that you all encouraged me to complete this session. So thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Yes, I think so. Who raised? Somebody raised hand and I stopped.
Ji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead, Tanya. Yeah, go ahead.
I have to ask Mataji that you said that tradition cannot be established as evidence.
Yeah.
But while showing the proof of Bhagavad Gita, we say that it has come through disciplic succession. That's why it is authentic.
Come through disciplic succession by the acharyas who are following the shastras. But otherwise, in tradition, how can it be possible? I can give you one funny story. There was one lady, and her daughter was getting married. Okay. So she said that when I got married, my mother, she bought a cat and she covered the cat with that wooden tokri covered lid kind of thing. And that is very auspicious. You have to keep it. Only then I can get married. So my mother kept it. So now my daughter is getting married. She got a cat and she covered it. Okay, then this is the tradition that was following. Now she asked her mother, why you kept that cat under the lid, under that wooden lid when I was getting married? So she said, because my mother did when I was getting married, and my mother said it is very auspicious. But the hidden reason was the first generation that started this tradition was that it was not a tradition. Somehow the marriage was taking place in the family and the cat entered. And the mother of the cat, instead of the cat making all mess, she covered the cat under the basket so that the marriage procession can be taken care of nicely without any mess or without any problem. So initially she did it because all of a sudden a cat entered, and to protect that mess that the cat can make, she covered the cat. Without knowing why she did it, this has become a tradition that generation after generation, when the daughters are getting married in their lineage, they are bringing the cat and they're covering it with the lid, thinking that it's an auspicious thing. So that kind of generations that is passed, how can it establish the supreme absolute truth? It cannot. Right? But when we say about Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, I have given this knowledge to Vivaswan, who has given it to Ishwaku, and how it has come from generation to generation. But every generation is following that Shastra, is not putting their own mental speculation. That's why they are known as acharyas. That's why even those kings were known as Rajarishis, because they don't interpret anything. They do it as it is. You got it now?
Yes, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your wonderful question. Yes, Praladananda Prabhu.
Dhanvat Pranam Mataji, and Dhanvat to everyone. I was wondering about the definition of bhakti, which Vishwanath Chakravarti is giving. But Narad Muni also has given. He says that Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmanam.
Yes.
Rushikesha Sevanam Bhakti. So, is there any difference between these two definitions? Because I see Vishwanath is defining Uttama Bhakti.
Yeah, Uttama Bhakti. Actually, that definition that is given by Narad Muni is not complete.
Not complete, I see. Okay.
So
I think he's talking about Vaidhi Bhakti, like that.
The Rupa Goswami is giving, that is the complete definition of Bhakti.
Complete, yeah, right, that's right.
That's the only
difference. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Kalpagavalli Mataji. Mataji, you have to unmute. Unmute, Mataji. I cannot.
Nectarian class, Mataji. And I want request you to send it verses, Mataji. So that Mangalacharan praise and all can see.
Sure,
we can read, Mataji. In the meantime, the next class we can read the translation. More and more we can have that knowledge in everything, Mataji. I request you to send that.
Sure, Mataji. Sure, Mataji.
Very nice, Mataji. Very each and every line you explain. It's very nice. Thank you, Mataji.
All your association, even I'm studying now. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Anyone else has anything?
There are chat, Mataji, chat messages. Yeah, it's
No.
everybody saying very nice class. Yeah, that's it. Is there any more questions for Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga. Such a nice and beautiful class, and whatever you just explain in very detail, I could understand very nicely. And you talk about Brahma Pucham Pratishtha and you give the example of peacock. Really, it is very nice to say that impersonal people, whoever they don't know about the personality of a Lord, we can tell them and explain them this way. So maybe they can little bit understand. I really like it.
Thank you, Mataji. Not my example. It's all from the Shastras. The Upanishad itself explains it.
Yeah, but you explain very nicely and in detail. So anybody can understand, whoever they hear your class. Thank you, Mataji, so much. Dandvat pranam. Koti koti dandvat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasni Mataji.
I was about to say something, but Revati Mataji typed what I wanted to say. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. The class was very, very detailed and you covered every single thing. Mataji, every verse was completely unpacked, and honestly, this part, I've never paid attention to every word of these verses. We just read it like a ritual. Okay, okay, done with that. But today, I just realized there is so much meaning in every single word of the verse that our acharyas are writing. And thank you so much for taking that effort to unpack it and present it. And now it is so much meaning. Thank you. But Mataji, I didn't understand the difference between the three. I felt everything is the same.
Okay.
I don't know. Self-preservation, calling out for help during a like a very crazy or a very difficult situation, and evacuation for preserving the life. Everything seems ultimately preserving
it. That is a huge difference.
That's all my mind is. I mean, that's all my brain works. So, but really, thank you for the wonderful class. Class itself is very.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Preeti Vilasni. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji, for such a beautiful, beautiful class. Very grateful to you for explaining us in very detailed manner so that we can understand every single word in the verse, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. If there are no more questions or realizations, we can end the call here. I would like to offer my obeisances to Mataji and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय हाँ ग्रेस कीर्तिदा सुंदरी माता जी की जय
All the assembled Vaishnavas ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai jai. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining today's session. We'll meet again next Monday. We will meet for the regular classes. Friday for this Madhuri Kadambini.